When I was going to school during these semester exams, it always was after before the break, after Christmas break. Now it's before Christmas break, and the big issue here is that it's changed. I guess Medley wanted to decide to say like I guess Medley wanted to be like college, but that's what I'm here to talk to you about. I mean, the biggest issue ever here with these semester exams is the people who are cheating. That's the big issue. The big Swiss cheese here, if you would say. And a lot of times, no one cares. No one understands that cheating is against the rules here at every school. And if you're caught, then disciplinary action can happen. To be specific, some schools it's just line up by offense. Like if the first time it's a 0 for the semester, happens again it's an F for the course and or semester. So what that means is if you get if you cheat again, you get an F. And if you get an F from that school, you'll probably get an F throughout the rest of the semester. And your parents will be like, "Why are you still getting Fs?" "Because I cheated." And it's like, "Well, because I cheated." "When did you cheat?" I cheated months ago when we did our tests." "What tests?" I mean, like, it doesn't matter if it was like extra credit points. I mean, sometimes in order to avoid cheating, it's like 2 forms of the test to where no one can cheat. But mainly the big thing is just about cheating. But what are the statistics for this year? Here are the facts and statistics from the International Center for Academic Integrity. 32% are undergraduates who cheat in every form, or 29.3% are overall. Getting someone else to do academic work, 2% overall, and it seems like a tie here. This was back in March 2020. Donald McGregor was one of the founders of ICAI, and his original research summary followed the study that showed that 60% of university students freely admit to cheating in the same form. Using authorized electronic sources like Wikipedia, YouTube, Paper Project, or other homework assignments, 25.1% are undergraduate, 23% are overall. When working together, 26% overall, 28% is undergraduate. Paraphrasing or copying a few sentences or more from any source without citing it in a paper or a summary you submitted, 13.8% is overall, 15% is undergraduate. And so, during this study, 64% admitted to cheating on a test, while 58% admitted to plagiarism, get to that in a minute, and 95% participated in some form of cheating, meaning they used their electronic devices, and there are lots of things. I mean, let's focus more on plagiarism. The definition of plagiarism. Here are the statistics for plagiarism. The Josephine Institute Center for Youth Ethics surveyed 43,000 high school students at public and private schools and found that 59% of high school students admitted cheating on a test during the last year, 34% reported it during 2 more times. 1 out of 3 high school students admitted they used internet to plagiarize an assignment. And 24,000 students in 70 schools, and 74% admitted cheating. Here is that survey. I mean, A lot of these, this is the data. 17% admitted cheating on tests for undergraduates. Numbers just one, like 17,000 and 71,300. 3% report obtaining paper from paper mill. 7% report self-report generated by another. 3% of graduate students self-report at the same time. 2% of graduates report doing so. 14% of students admit to fabricating, such as falsifying bibliography, while 7% of grade students self-report doing the same. 38% admit paraphrasing, copying few sentences from a statement. 25% of grade students report at the same time. 36% got into paraphrasing. And I think that, and there's research. There are questions to this, why children plagiarize. And this leads me to another question. Why did Flabba ISD decide to copy and paste the original NFL policy? There is a question that is unanswered. I tend to get to the truth here. Somebody here is just not open up to this, and I'm going to get to the truth. Alright, next. Yesterday was the court date for the Crumbley family. Did they get their sentence they deserve? What happened after? Is one of them going to jail? Or are the prosecutors going to just leave them in jail on a suicide watch? We'll read the very latest when we come back. There is new development tonight into the latest in the Oxford shooting. What we now know so far is that all three people, 2 of the parents are charged with 4 counts of misdemeanor, and the child is charged with 4 counts of murder. Now, just yesterday, there was a court appearance, and the bond is set at $500,000, which was another $500,000 less away from $1 million. But there is a catch here. The attorney, Neil Watkin, expects the lawyers for the parents to try to get their bonds lowered. He said, I anticipate the defense to bring up things like discovery, like bonds are set at pretty high. Defense might attack availability of the charge. They'll even attack the availability of the claim they were trying to flee. And they're also facing charges in connection with the shooting. They both pled not guilty to 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter and also being held at the county jail, but don't have contact with the son. And I think today they're expected in court. And until that matter comes, we'll figure out what happens. Life or death. Will it be up to the jury? This is O.J. Simpson. This case has gotten O.J. Simpson written on it. I'm just kidding. But no, on all seriousness, it has O.J. written on it. This case, in this case, he brought the gun. He stole it out of the home. Why charge the parents here? Well, basically, he got the gun. He bought the gun, and what had happened was he stole it. If the parents bought the gun, they bought the gun. But why need to charge them with involuntary manslaughter? The definition of involuntary manslaughter goes something like this: a crime of killing another human being unlawfully but intentionally. That's the definition of it. But they weren't part of the shooting. Did those two have guns? No. This guy had a gun. Why charge all 3 people during this time? As a matter of fact, you don't need to be charging 2 people with involuntary manslaughter. Again, the definition of this is just a crime of killing another human being, but what classifies as involuntary manslaughter? It's a homicide intended without intent to kill, but criminal recklessness or negligence, or death that results during the commission of or flight from misdemeanor or felony and is not encompassed by a felony murder rule. I don't understand why these 2 parents are charged with involuntary manslaughter. And it's the law. Oxford Languages. An example of this would be the killer who acts in the heat of passion, making intentionally, but the emotional context is migrating factor reduces the moral blameworthiness. Classic similar voluntary manslaughter involves a husband who comes home and unexpectedly finds his wife committing adultery. I mean, sure, that's a great reason to do that, because if he was involved, he would have the gun. If the father was involved in this, he would have had a second gun to say, hey, can I come join you? Sure. And yet, that would be the reason to charge him. 3 people are held in county jail, and he's 15. An adult jail. Why not put him in juvie? If you're under 18, you are a juvenile. So the point of juvenile is to go to juvenile hall or juvenile detention center. That's the whole point of being a juvenile. And in this particular case, I'd have to sign with the attorney. Ethan Crumley. So again, here's what we know so far. Ethan Crumley, at 15, is facing 24 charges in connection with the November 30 mass shooting. Police said Ethan Crumley killed 4 students and injured 6 others and a teacher. So 4 plus 6 is 10. That's 11 people he's injured. He's being held in the county jail without bond. But the parents were at bond here. And according to Click on Detroit, there's not much that can be happening in probable cause of the conference. Watkins said the defense will try to contain the public release information about the case and limit the information that is released. So in that time, we may never know. But there's some comments from nobody. It says these parents can cry over all they want and won't make any bit of it. Both were dumb enough to buy the gun for their 15-year-old son, failed to secure the weapon, and parents failed too. They're 100% responsible for their own son's stupid action and conduct. And this one, CJ Thee. They can deny all they want. They bought the gun for the 15-year-old as a federal crime and let him have access to it by not securing it properly. They are responsible for what happened. Those are just 2 of the comments. And they can say, we never bought the weapon for him. They bought the weapon. What about the receipt? If you went to a gun show, think about what happened in Columbine. In Columbine, two people had their hands on guns, and they bought the gun show. President Clinton had planned to prevent violent juveniles from ever owning a gun. And then today, there's going to be a court appearance for these 2. And we'll have the very latest on Cut Me Break right now as this approaches. But there is more still ahead, and especially about no pass, no play when you return. 36 years ago, there was legislation that happened in the passage of Bill 72. By text legislation in 1984, it became effective in 1985. It's called the No Pass, No Play. And what is it referred to? Well, it refers to policies in states that define eligibility for extracurricular activities in athletics. It's based on academic performance, attendance, and student behavior. Currently, 16 states have no pass, no play policies that affect students worldwide. And the governor who did that was Governor Mark White. What are the guidelines to this? Well, a two-page Microsoft cheat sheet would help. The sheet isn't intended for the guidelines under the TEA's no pass, no play. Eligibility grade checks for the first 6 weeks of school and every 3 weeks after that. Students lose eligibility if they fail 6 times below any class on the report card. Students can regain eligibility by passing all classes on the progress report. You cannot make students ineligible, but you can still help a student regain eligibility. There's a grace period of 1 week following each eligibility check. Students who pass every class on the last report card are eligible for the first year of school. Students who fail a class on the last report have 2 chances to regain availability. The regrade check again April 2nd. Regaining eligibility April 10th, the end of school day. May 1st, the end of school day. Students who failed the class on the last report. Students graded the day for the day before the trip do not factor into eligibility status based on the report card. Direction and administration has the right to keep a student at school for any reason, disdain behavior, this and that and the other. Any solutions? No place you may research. And they have their own PDF documents here, or Word documents. But the goal here of no pass, no play. The eligibility, I mean, these are for extracurricular activities. I mean, if you're committing no pass, no play, you can be on an academic suspension for like 3 weeks. If you saw an episode of King of the Hill years ago, you know exactly what I was talking about. And if you don't, look it up on Hulu. I think it was season 5. I think it was. Let me see. This was called Peggy Makes the Big Leagues. And if you look up that episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it was no pass, no play. And for a lot of people here, if you decide to do this, I mean, you can be on a 3-week suspension. And if you want information about this, you can look it up. This is a 22-page thing, question and answers. May a school district exempt locally honest students? Yes, not necessary in the same list. If a student drops a course eligible for exemption, 70 months and eligible. I mean, these are things that people get past. I mean, if you don't do what you're told, but the idea changed. I mean, I still think it was a good idea. If you don't pass, you don't play. So if you start doing this, you could be out like on a suspension here. I mean, this is a 9-page thing. Alabama, Florida, Iowa, the college and coverage definitions. Texas, defined by the UIL, the School District Board of Trustees. So the period of eligibility would be 3 weeks. Academic requirements are weighted students in advancement. So in Ohio, the district determines. South Carolina does not determine. Nevada has a semester. Iowa, 20 consecutive school days. Florida is a grading period. No period of eligibility for the other state. California, the district determines. Arizona is just 9 weeks or less. Alabama, that's 2 semesters. Illinois, Kentucky, Maryland, all three will be determined by the school district. 3 weeks. You gotta get 3 weeks to bring up their grade. So if I were you people doing all those extra activities in the Coastal Bend, get your butts to class and study. If you failed that class, you have to get a whole 3 weeks to bring that up. Otherwise, you could fail your class and you could be kicked off the team. Period. I mean, I know for you guys out there, your dad played football, your mom was a cheerleader, your sister joined the choir, your brother played tennis, your brother played football, this and that. I get you want to be in your brother's shoes, but it's a privilege. It is a privilege for those extracurricular activities. You have to earn them. They're privileges, not rights. So you can sit here and argue with me about this, but they won't do a damn thing. I mean, this is a 9-page thing. This is a 9-page thing. West Virginia will be one semester, 3 weeks for Texas, according to the Education Code 33.081. And Texas is the only state that has enacted the no pass, no play, while other states probably do the same thing. But again, you need to be in school. That's why if you want to be extracurricular, you have to say to yourself, keep going to school and you'll continue being the best player ever. And you have to earn it back. And if you want to be back on the team, you have to earn it. You gotta earn your right to be back on the team. Because if you don't, we'll be back at square one then you're gonna go back to square one. I'll be back in a moment. So the court date for the case against the school shooting is today. And on Wednesday, we're going to bring you the very latest, as well as a coming break right now for about 10 minutes. So look for the coming break right now tomorrow, which is today. And on a Wednesday, I'll recap to you what I said on coming break right now. So look for that. That's all of this edition of Coming Break Monday going to Tuesday. We'll see you again for Coming Break Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow for Coming Break right now. For all of us here at YouTube, good night.